Right now we got Joe Sestak, Admiral, retired and current candidate for Senate in the state of Pennsylvania. Admiral, welcome back to the program.
Good to be back with you, Charles. Thank you.
Admiral, I wish you were in studio. You could protect me from some of these people, but that's another story in and of itself. Hey, so I understand you were literally just back in Pittsburgh today, but you're already on your way up to another event in Erie?
That's right. We left Philadelphia about 4:30 a.m. this morning, did our first event on our rolling out our plan for restoring the American dream for working families to Johnstown. Hit Pittsburgh, on the way to Erie, and back to Philly. Then tomorrow we'll go from Harrisburg, Scranton, Allentown, right on down to Norristown.
You know, Admiral, I got to ask a question. How many miles do you have on the family truckster now?
Well, until I got for 260,000 miles on my hybrid, and then darn it just got in a little accident there.
No.
And yeah. And so since then, on the new one, I took over my wife. She won't trust me with a new one. 100,000 I added on, and that's been maybe it's been about a year or so, but not much more.
Yeah, well, not only you're wearing out the cars, you're wearing out the shoe leather, and it's a wonderful thing. So, Admiral, I mean, what are the things that we need to be doing here in Pennsylvania and across the rest of the United States?
Here's what we've got to do. First of all, we have got to have leaders we can trust, who are able to say, I am for you, the working family people. And second of all, we have got to get those jobs rising again in terms of wages. You know, today, over half the working families today are earning $4,400 in less in real income than they did in 1999. And that means $4,500 less, and even 20% of them now have their partner working also. Something's wrong if we don't get the productivity that keeps going up each year, half of it going into human capital, the labor force.
Yeah, I agree with you, Admiral. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, and it's not only that, but there's other things going on here in the United States. I'm thinking to myself, you know, childcare here in this country is $1,000 a month. And when you're working a job that's paying you $10, $12 an hour, I mean, how do you even begin to keep up with that?
Absolutely. That's why the child care tax credit we've recommended in this plan of ours has got to be increased in terms of how little income is allowed to be excluded from excluding you from being able to qualify for child care. Child care is rising so greatly. You know, it's almost on a par, not quite, with the cost of college education. And look, people want to work. All they want is an opportunity to actually take advantage of being able to have their kid taken care of while they're working. And by the way, it also has to be in places like early start, Head Start, etc., because we all know that getting to universal pre-K is absolutely critical for the best education of our children.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, early childhood education in those programs like that, every dollar we put into is a windfall.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is absolutely positively incredible on what the return on investment is we get from that. And, you know, I got to tell you, Admiral, I would be a huge fan, and many other people would be huge fans if we continue to push that, and we really appreciate your efforts in that. What else are you working on right now, Admiral?
Well, one point on that one. That's why when I was in Congress, I helped co-sponsor the Pre-K Act bill in order to have the federal government be giving grants to states to move us up from just 47% of our kids in pre-K to universal for the exact reason. Look, here's the other thing. When I did some, want to stay on this theme, here up in Erie, I'm going to be talking about retraining and training. The United States of America, the world's greatest country with the world's greatest people, actually puts only 0.1% of its budget into training and retraining our labor force. That's the lowest of any developed country. In fact, manufacturing companies have actually flatlined over the last 5 years their training budget. In fact, they've cut in half their training staff. And those types of apprentice programs that sign up with the Labor Department is cut by a third. In short, we know that manufacturing is about to come home from China because their costs have really skyrocketed there. We need to train the human capital, the labor force, and that is where government, private, state, local, community colleges all have got to get together because that investment, not just in pre-K, but continuing it to the great artisans of the world, Americans who made manufacturing great, is restored.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to tell you, we still have the best machinists in the world. And those are the kind of people, maybe some of them are, a little closer to your or my age than others. But, not for nothing, 20, 30 years worth of experience as a machinist, that counts for something, and it counts for a lot. We have the ability to bring to bear those people for training, for mentoring, for leadership positions. And, Admiral, I hear people all the time say, I'm thinking about the guy who runs, there are people out there that are saying we can't do it. And that is absolutely, positively not the right answer. We can do it, and we can do it better, faster, and cheaper than anybody else in the world.
We can. And look, things have changed so dramatically. People are beginning to want quality in their products as they notice that this stuff's coming from China sure doesn't meet the quality, may have been cheaper for a while, but not the quality. Second, we know for a fact that shipping costs have skyrocketed so much because there's only limited shipping and there's not a lot out there anymore, that along with the cost of diesel has skyrocketed. That's why we can make this better and definitely cheaper now. Look, when I started in the Navy back in the Vietnam War era, my first job was with the machinist mates. I had the lathe operators. I had the electricians, the interior communications men and women. I had them. We ran that hotel, which was called a ship at sea. I had the plumbers. And you know what? I was talking to a plumber fixing in my campaign headquarters a sink, and I was chatting with him and said, how's it going? We got on this same topic. There's not a question with the right training and the investment in training, much like when you go to some of the unions and watch how well they train their forces. That is what we need across America.
Absolutely. And Admiral, I got to tell you, there are some events here in Western Pennsylvania and some other places all across the United States. I'm talking to our friends with the building trades, and it doesn't matter if it's carpenters or machinists or iron workers or whatever. They are going to need literally tens and tens of thousands of brand new apprentices coming up over the next couple of years, and that hiring trend is going to continue. We need to reinforce it. We need to start doing things like repairing our electrical grid, repairing some of the other infrastructure that's out there. And those people that say we can't afford to do it, well, get off my road because you don't deserve to drive on it.
And to back you up on that, the predictions are that we will need 11.4 million more skilled workers by 2022, of which half are exactly what you said. Those that in their post-secondary education need a certificate, need an associate's degree, needing part of a college degree. They need some certain skills. That's what the labor force, half of it is going to be needed, millions of them by 2022. And that's why our community colleges here in Pennsylvania are something where we've got to take a look at it. I'm headed to Erie, and they turned down having the opportunity a few years ago for a community college. But think about this. 61% of everyone in America that is in a college is in community college. Here in Pennsylvania, it's only 28% of those in college are in a community college because we only have 5% of our colleges are community colleges. Across the nation, it's 25%. In short, we've got to get all institutions, from labor to others to community colleges, starting to have the right number in order to train the right workforce, the numbers to assume those jobs you and I just spoke about.
And Admiral, you said 2022, and for a lot of people, that's a long distance way off. And we're talking about hiring millions of people. That's only 6 years away, sir.
That is correct. you know. And if I might, as you talk about so far away, you know,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for the Affordable Care Act, if I could just bring something else up, it's both education and a healthy, educated workforce. If it wasn't for the Affordable Care Act, 1 year from today, Medicare would have started going bankrupt, running out of money. That Affordable Care Act extended Medicare solvency for 13 more years. So sometimes when people say, well, that was a problem, we don't need this, it's solving a problem down the road, no, hold on. Right now, today, those who are retired from the workforce going into Medicare have a solvent Medicare. I only wanted to bring that up because hand in hand goes health and education security. And never forget that the world's greatest generation from World War II and any seniors who are becoming seniors today, we got to take care of them too with a solvent Social Security and Medicare.
There you go. Admiral, we appreciate it. How do we find out more about you?
If you would just go online to my website, joesestak.com, Sestak, or as we said in the military, Sierra Echo Sierra, Tango Alpha Kilo.
There you
that,
go.
Charles?
Roger that. Out here, sir. We appreciate it. In the meantime, I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge Laborers Talk Radio.